the guy that I was dating came to get me from the house so that I could see this person take his last breath. And I watched it. And I watched the response of the officers. I watched the way that the help that was supposed to come didn't help him. I watched him deprived because he was a black man dying on the streets in a neighborhood that they didn't care anything about. It wasn't just for me to see a man take his last breath, but it was for me to know the conditions of my environment.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just ain't real. Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Real life street stars, man. We have a very, very special situation in which we have someone who has not only a history and a past, but also a bright future. I want to introduce Pedra to the couch. Welcome.
Thank you.
First and foremost, what we like to do is we like to let people introduce themselves, let us know where you're from, and as of now, what it is that you do.
Okay. My name is Pedra Jeter. I'm Dr. Pedra Jeter. I am full-time in ministry. I am a worldwide evangelist. I'm also running for county commissioner in District 4 in Dallas, Texas. I also work in mental health. I am a postdoctoral clinical psychologist. I'm also a practitioner with taxes, and I do a lot of things, housing, mental health, those that are homeless. And that's my passion right now, is pretty much dealing with those that don't have their living situations together. So,
man, it's a beauty because, our audience, I would say our audience a lot from even where we started have always been part of the have-nots. The people that cater to the individuals that we have on this platform are people that sometimes see themselves into the person sitting on the couch. That's why we call it real life street stars. A lot of people have not only been in the streets, but they're real. They're going through life. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes we have some stars. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, one thing that, and I want to shout out Bishop Eli, Pastor Eli, for introducing us.
Absolutely. Shout out Bishop Eli.
Shout out Eli, man. One thing that he did when he first introduced, he said, man, Pedra has one hell of a story. And one thing that he had just even brought up and mentioned as far as just a part of your, that's part of your story, part of your journey, is that, you didn't get through life without trepidation. You actually have, as a living witness sitting here, you actually kind of, made it through having 34 felonies.
Absolutely.
When I hear 34 felonies, that's a lot. That's a lot.
You should think of Trump.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
I should think of Trump.
Yeah, we are the same.
If you don't mind, because, there's some people out here that may have one, may have none, maybe might get two or three. To have 34 and make it through that, can you speak on as far as how far back you want to go, as far as your history? What led you to get 34 felonies? What part of that lifestyle were you in? When did that lifestyle begin for you? Do you blame it, or do you put it towards family upbringing, towards a man, just towards the streets, maybe? Kind of give us, before you even go to what the felonies are, kind of give us your background, your history to even have that.
Okay, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say my mom was a registered nurse, so it had nothing to do with the upbringing of my home. She poured into us. It had everything to do with environment. And so I come from East Dallas. At that particular time, what happened was we moved into a neighborhood that was infested with drug dealers. By the time I came to Dallas, into the East Dallas area, that's when all the Jamaicans hit the scene. That was 1980s. I'm about maybe 8-10 years old. I'm walking kilos of cocaine down through the Fair Park area. And because I had a pretty face, beautiful hair, who would ever think that this little child is walking kilos to put it up?
Hold on, well, wait a minute. We're gonna slow burn this one.
Okay.
8 to 10 years old.
Yes.
You're in East Dallas and you're walking with kilos.
Yes.
Of cocaine.
Absolutely.
Through near the Fair Park area.
Absolutely.
How does this come about? Like, who introduces you to this? I know the area and I know the era of the Jamaicans coming through, but Did someone put you in the game? Because you're young. You should be in school watching Teletubbies or Sesame Street or whatever it is.
I was in school, straight A honor roll student.
Yes.
We moved into the wrong area. So during that particular time, my mom met a guy that lived in South Dallas through a club from a friend. She's a nurse, and she meets him. He's on hard time. She ends up coming down to his level, and from that, trying to strengthen him and also maintain her children, we ended up moving into some apartments that was right across the street from Fair Park area, kind of near Elihu. That's almost Park Road area where Bishop Nim was from. Yeah. So in that particular time, that apartment complex was infested with Jamaicans. They ran it. It was like New Jack City. And although we are there and we're innocent breed, you're still sculpted. You're by the people that's around you. So they were able to take advantage of, this is a young girl. Nobody's going to pat her down. The police is not going to stop me. And they never did. Walking down the street, all I had to do was walk it down. And they gave me the keys to a certain car, told me what it looked like, what street it was on, take it and put it in the trunk of the car. And that's what I did.
Was there money involved?
Absolutely. I make $500 every time I took the trip.
Put money in your pocket, not your parent, not no one else's.
Nobody knew I was doing it at that time.
The first time you did it, if you can remember that back that far, were you nervous? Were you questioning what it was, or you just said, all I heard is money and go do this simple task?
I ain't never been scared of anything.
Oh, come on now.
So it was just a conversation. It was money. I went and did it, and went and got my friends. We went shopping and. We did what we did.
I was going to say, what were your wants back then as far as to have that kind of money on you?
Back then, that's LL Cool J area. So, we in jams, we in parachute pants, we went shopping, box one, short sets.
Come on.
So it was just pretty much just to be dressed, to have the hip hop fashions that was in at that time. I would go down to Dixon Circle, run the streets, we box up a couple of people, and that was life.
Was any of your friends involved as well?
No.
So it was only you?
Well, what ended up happening, my middle sister ended up getting involved. So she ended up dating. She was 5 years older than me. High yellow, real pretty long hair. And so, of course, South Dallas females didn't really look like that. Mixed breed, So she ended up dating one of the ones that had the most money at that time. And then so... here I came in, selling pills and cocaine out the window, went from walking to actually selling drugs.
Did your friends ever ask where this money came from? The ones that didn't know, they ever questioned like, how are you buying all this?
No, that was the norm.
Okay.
That was normal for everyone. And then you had to realize during my era, we didn't look at drug dealers as bad people. They were the neighborhood kings. Yeah. That's who we looked up to. Because they, if you didn't have it, they looked out for the family that didn't have it. Everybody paints this bad picture of drug dealers being, killers and this, that, and the other. But they failed to paint the picture of them that had hearts. When I was growing up, the drug dealers would shut their traps down on Sundays out of respect for church people.
Oh, come on.
And they taught everybody around there, like, even if they saw the youngsters doing something, they was like, hey, you can't do that. Wait till church is out. So it was a lot of respect, and it was family. You created a family system.
How often were you active back then? Was this something that you were doing on a daily, maybe on weekends? How much of a foot would you say you had in that lifestyle back then when it was early on, before it got probably till you got to selling or anything like that? Just as a courier? Just
whenever I wanted to be involved. There was nothing that they held me to. It wasn't like I was being held hostage. It was just whenever I may want some money and I go up, hey, what you got for me to do? I just hang around, and just hanging around,
we'll get
you got paid.
I was about to say, was it something that you were, is it something that you sought after, or they sought after you in regards to, hey, we need Pedra to come over,
Yeah, no, if I was there, then of course I'm available. It's like if you come and you're hanging around, then you're available.
We're going to jump around this conversation, but I got to ask you, what are your thoughts now of drug dealers today using children to peddle drugs or do anything of that nature, of that sort?
Ignorance.
Wow.
Ignorance. It is taking advantage of a generation, because there's a lot more violence now than it was then. So you have children that's getting a hold of guns and things like that, that the family system is no longer there. So to put a child in danger like that, or even to mold a child with those different type of ideas, is something that we shouldn't have to see in this day. We have grown now with more education. We have greater systems put in place. We have different type of organizations, and we have monies and things like that that could prevent stuff like that.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
As you were, just being a courier, you said you graduated to selling the pills and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Was that because you never saw any type of trouble that came with that, as far as whether through the police, through another drug dealer? Like, was it like just easy selling for you, where you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the game because I haven't seen no backlash from this? Like,
I saw backlash every day. We saw traps getting kicked in. We saw people murdered on the streets. Wow. I've seen people shot in their face, bullet hole to the head. I've seen robberies, everything.
Yeah. Again, I'm a slow burn this one. Jeez. Okay. When was the first time you seen a person shot? How old were you, would you say?
I was probably, I want to say maybe 13.
13 years old. And
I watched a man die.
You already had tough skin at this time.
Absolutely. The guy that I was dating came to get me from the house so that I could see this person take his last breath. And I watched it. And I watched the response of the officers. I watched the way that the help that was supposed to come didn't help him. I watched him deprived because he was a black man dying on the streets in a neighborhood that they didn't care anything about. It wasn't just for me to see a man take his last breath, but it was for me to know the conditions of my environment.
Yeah. Upon seeing it, you're 13 years old. If you don't mind, what did go through your mental to see that? If you haven't seen it before.
I was broken. As a matter of fact, I want to say that may have been the first time I prayed. And I believe that I prayed for him because his eyes was open. He was dying, and I was literally standing over him. And I remember praying for him.
Was this part of a gang activity, or was it just strictly due to maybe a bad drug transaction, or was it part of something else, an innocent bystander?
Yeah, it wasn't gang related. Okay. I think that this was just a situation that got out of control.
I see.
Yeah.
So to see all that and to still put yourself deeper in the game, was it the rush? Was it the money that at the time where you're like, hey, this is the way we're living. This is the product of my environment at this time. Absolutely. What was it right then for you to go deeper into the game? It
was the product of our environment. This is what you had to do. But the object of it was to not become the person on the ground that was taking his last breath. And the object of it was not to become the person that goes into prison and get the life sentence.
Right.
It was a game. Trapping was a trap. Hustling is a game.
Definitely understand. When it comes to this is your adolescence years. You're from what people say, you're not even a woman yet. You're a child. I mean, you're a child going through this. Mm-hmm. How long did it take before the game started getting real? Whether something happened to you directly, whether through police, somebody robbing you, something would you consider a setback that happened to you that make you, from what you remember, this game is real. Like, I'm really in this now. If any, I mean.
Saying when I realized it was real, I want to say when one of my friends was murdered. When it was close to me. And so when that ended up happening, I had a friend that was shot in East Dallas at that time, and he was one of the twins, Pee Wee and Tunti, and so some people knew them from East Dallas. They was well known, but they were very close friends of mine. And so when the first twin was murdered, it broke me, and it made me not want to be a part of that environment anymore. I wanted to get away from that particular area.
Okay. About what age was this for you?
That was probably 16.
Okay. During this time, are you still staying with your mom, or
no?
Who are you staying with at this time? Who's your Who's overseeing you at this time?
I'm hustling. At this time, I got my own money. I'm driving a Broham Cadillac.
Oh, hey, come on now.
I'm grilled out, diamonds around my neck.
What color was that Broham?
Burgundy.
Ooh, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
So things started changing for me, and it just, at that time, I was an adult. At 15, I had my own house.
Yeah. That lets you know the kind of money coming in.
Absolutely. My trap was next door.
Come on, you had to. Come on. Okay, so as we speak on it, then, what was your first major run-in with the law, and what was it about? Was it something simple? Did they know who you were?
My first major run-in with the law, I want to say that it was probably counterfeit money, because I never went for the drugs. So I ended up coming from the whole drug dealer era, and then by that time, people started doing bank drops, credit cards. Forgery was very heavy. And I want to say that was probably early parts of 2000. No, that was before 2000. So that was like 1998, 97 that I actually got into that particular field. And so, yeah.
What was the most amount that you seen on a forged check, or that
on a forged check?
Yeah, that a bank cashed.
Well, I was dating somebody, so he was in more of that heavy part of it. No, they was getting hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands?
Yeah, no, they was getting rich off of it.
Jeez.
It wasn't a joke for them. They did this. And you had to realize that during that time, some things was fairly new to the system. Yeah. So it took, even within the years of drug dealing and stuff like that, it took law enforcement time to catch on to this
stuff. They got to figure these things out.
So they had to figure it out. And they hadn't figured it out yet.
Your guy friend, did they ever have like an out, like, hey, we're going to stop this one day? They're like, hey, we just going to. I always wondered, do people have an out? Like, I'm going to stop this the last one. I got enough.
I did, but no, the guy that I was with, no, he told me that he would die in, and he did. He was murdered. His friends received maximum amount of time. Most of them, if they didn't die in the game, they're still incarcerated.
Gee. Okay. So back to your first run-in, when it comes to, they're hitting you for the counterfeits. What was that? Were you prepared for dealing with the laws? Did you have a lawyer on retainer? Were you ready for, like, I'm sure people around you told you this may be part of the game that you got to deal with. So be ready for it. Or were you blindsided when the laws first said, hey, we're going to put you in handcuffs because of X amount?
Of course, because when you start off as a child like that and you never have any run-in with the police, you almost develop this whole persona like you're invincible. It wasn't until I actually went into Lusteric and I had all of these different charges that I actually went to court. And I was out on buns, just constantly getting out. And I felt that was the way that it went. As long as you had an attorney and you get your money, then you get out. But one day I went to court without my attorney, and they took the bond off of me because at this time I was a menace to society.
Oh, man.
So when I went behind the walls, that's when it got real.
How many times did you bond out before then? Like, about, if you could guess.
You got to understand, the guys that I was dating always had money, so they was always coming to get me.
Right.
So I want to say, maybe about 20.
20 times, just bonding out, get in, get out.
Yeah, my boyfriend actually got tired. He was like, you go to jail more than a man.
I mean, that's a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So one time they gave no bond. They're going to keep you here.
Yes.
And you're going to face a judge, trial, or do whatever it was.
Yes.
How long did you sit in Lusteric?
I went to prison.
Oh, prison. That one.
I went to prison. That's when the Lord stepped into my life. So this is where we started getting God conscious now. Okay. So while I'm there and I'm facing all of these different charges, I believe in one setting I had maybe 15 charges. You have to remember that now I'm out forging. This is forgery. So every time you write a check, every time you swipe a credit card, that's another case. So I'm catching cases. They're just literally piling up on me. And I was looking at 20-year sentence. And these were concurrent 20-year sentences and concurrent 10-year sentences. And the grace of God came in and it changed from 10s and 20s to 1s and 2s. And they ran them concurrent. So I actually served a 2-year TDC sentence, mandatory 1-year state jail for the lower felonies. I went to prison.
Let me ask, when it comes to getting bonded out for each of these felonies, you would go back and still commit any said crimes? You're out on bond, and yet you're still, I guess, assuming getting to the money, or what was it? What was the motivation at that time?
It was living. I remember literally a psychologist came to see me when I was locked up, and she asked me, she said, if you get out, would you take anybody else's stuff? I said, I'd take your stuff.
Oh, wow.
If they let me out.
Oh, lock the doors.
That's where my mind was. You know, I didn't know any better. That was life for me.
You was a bad motherfucker. You was a bad motherfucker.
I was throwed off. I was crazy.
Yeah, did you have a favorite teacher growing up? I did. Who I don't want to do bad in front of this teacher, man. This person.
Well, see, this is the thing about me and all of my siblings. We were straight A honor roll students, talented and gifted. So I'm in a neighborhood environment that's really the education level's too low for me. I was smarter than most of the kids that was in school. In 6th grade, 7th grade, I was scoring 12th grade level scores. So I was different. In the 3rd grade, I finished school in half the time. All of my books, every workbook, everything. The teacher stopped. Me and a little girl was playing. And he said, do your work. We said, we already did it. He said, well, do the next page. We said, we did that page too. We was competing with each other. So we finished the language, math. We went through every book that they had. We was finished with 3rd grade mid-year. We didn't know what we had done. So he stopped, went out. We thought we was in trouble. And they was trying to figure out what to do with us. From that time, they started having meetings with my mom. And they was like, pull out of public school. She's too smart to be in public school. And they wanted me to go to law academy. She wouldn't pull me out. And they told her, they said, if you don't pull her out, she's going to become a villain. And I did.
Talented and gifted. Boy. All right. If you don't mind, the list of felonies that they might hit you for, the ones that you want to speak on, what type of felonies did you have on your jacket?
Well, of course, when I went to prison, most of those was forgery felonies. But I also caught a case that was dropped in Grand Prairie, Texas that made front news, and that was a capital murder charge. I was actually with some people during this particular time. So if you pull it up, it's in my record. I'm an open book. I can't conceal it.
Thank you.
Because it's going to be pulled. Took a trip with a couple of friends, going to rob. And the guy that I was with ended up seeing someone that robbed him, jumped out, and he shot her. So we all found ourselves in Grand Prairie jail. And it was on the front page of the news that week. I was held for 72 hours. Just so happened that the gentleman that I was with confessed. Okay. And we were released from that. But I was there on that robbery trip. I felt like that was God too, because everybody was strapped.
Wait, so you were going to rob someone else, but on the way there, he seen another person that robbed him, a woman. Mm-hmm. And of course that happens. Did y'all go on the run after this, or was it strictly that night?
No, we was caught the night that we went to go jack a house. We was pulled over by the police. Oh. That was an intervention.
That is good. Yeah, that was an
intervention. And we had everything that you can imagine. AKs, SKs, 9 Glocks. That was my gun. And so with that being done, it prevented the others of us that was in the car. That was just, we were surviving. Yeah. This was a hood. We were surviving. It was, my son say, eat or get eaten. Or eaten.
Come on, eat or get ate. What kind of music was inspiring you back then? What kind of music were you listening to back then?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, please, just give me an artist or something, because this...
Pyro Love.
Come on now.
Come straight, you had all of this stuff. This was straight ball, and this was 8 Ball, MJG, Pimp C.
Yeah.
That was that era. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You was motivated.
Yeah.
You was motivated. You did overall time that you did through the long stint. You said that was 2 years?
I went to prison for a 2-year sentence.
2-year sentence.
And I served 1 year flat because of the state jail. I probably would have paroled out earlier than that, but I had a mandatory sentence. So I served my mandatory on the 2 years, which was 11 months. And then they released me and put me right back in the dog pound, which is in Gatesville. And I served the last month in the dog pound.
If you don't mind me asking, during that time, how much money would you say you were looking at? How much money did you see or touch?
I touched a lot of money. I saw a lot of money. I wouldn't say we got to the million.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to the millions.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And this is back then.
Mm-hmm.
When
Escalades first came out, we was in the Escalade, like when it literally first hit the
first Cadillac truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember them times. I remember them times. When you see that, and again, we're not to, you were looking at 20 years, and to not sit. I mean, because most people can't comprehend 20 years at that age.
Yeah.
To not have to face those 20 years, but to only really sit for 1 year. Did you have any children or anything?
Absolutely.
You had children?
I had two at the time, 2 girls.
How old were they when?
When I went, I want to say that one was maybe 3 and the other one was around 8.
And who were they with?
My mother and the grandmother. I had a good family system as far as like, I remember my mom went to college. She graduated. And then the father's mother at that time of my youngest daughter, she was in church. She was saved. So I had no problems with people taking care of my children while I was gone.
To be facing 20 years and have your children there, and to have that 20 years, whether through lawyers, whether through the grace of God, whatever it was, and it was the grace of God in this case, because to have that stone come down to where you only serve a year, as you said, it changed you. It changed something in you. It changed the way you look at life. Can you speak on that as far as what that change was and when that moment hit? Because for everybody it's different when they have a realization like, wow, I have another chance at this thing.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say, first of all, it was the not being able to embrace my children when reality hit that I was in and I couldn't come out. I wasn't going to get out. That's when I started praying, and I didn't know really how to pray. But I remember saying, God, I don't know you. I don't know how this is supposed to go, but help me, because I wanted to get out for my children. The change wasn't that I want to change in my heart. I'm never going to get out and do this again. It was if you give me my children back and my life back, whatever I have to put away to make that happen, I will stop and I will do that. And that was that moment. And it happened for me. Every day I didn't get visits the way that everybody else could get visits. Although my children were well taken care of, I didn't have visits. I did my time, and I wanted to do it like that. I didn't want people to see me that way. So coming home and being able to embrace my children, I had to find a new life, and it was hard. I'm not going to say I came home and did the right thing. For a minute I did, but then once I realized that it wasn't working for me, food stamps and being on AFDC, that wasn't my type of lifestyle. And so to get the things that I needed, I kind of touched it a little bit more. And then I ended up going to church. I heard that the guy that I was dating was murdered. This is how I got saved.
Wow.
Once he was murdered, that was it. I knew it was over. And he talked to me, told me that he would die, that somebody was going to kill him. It was almost like a prophecy. And he told me he wanted me to get in church, that I needed to give my life to the Lord because I wasn't he was like, you're not a bad girl. You're supposed to be saved.
This guy you were dating after you were released, did you know him prior?
Yes, I did.
If you are able to, or if you don't mind speaking on, what was his circumstance as far as for him losing his life?
He was involved in a robbery, and he had a lot of people that was, he was a tough cookie. He didn't really have friends like that. So everywhere he went, he was pulling guns on people. He was getting into all type of crazy stuff, and he had a lot of money, and it just went to his head. And so without him having a fear, the most dangerous person is a person that don't fear anything for themselves. He didn't fear losing his life. He knew that he would lose his life. And so that's how he ended up. He was shot in his mom's house in the head.
Wow, in his mom. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Definitely. When it comes to this transpiring, and of course, you know, you going through this and him telling you to get into church and things of that nature, was that the moment right there where you're saying, I want to never look back on this lifestyle again? And what was it? Was it for the sake of your children? Was it for the sake of yourself, your soul? What was it that had you say, like, this has to be it? Because it's a hard life. Not to come from what you came from. You've seen how to get it easy. Mm-hmm. And to be as smart as you are, that means you see ways that you could, you know, that you see holes in the system or holes in humans. Mm-hmm. We're like, I could easily, you know, go this way. But for you to choose to do the right and go down the right path, what was it for you at that moment?
It was the fear of losing my soul, because you have to realize by the time he's gone, I'm God conscious. So the reason that he says that is because when he would come home from hustling, I'm reading my Bible, and he wasn't seeing that with girls that was from the streets. He was like, why are you always in your Bible? And I started reading it to him, and I started praying for him. And he was like, something's different with you, and this is not where you're supposed to be. And he just kept speaking that over me. And his grandmother was in church, had been in church his whole life. And he was like, you remind me so much of my grandmother, that I see you living a saved life. And once he was murdered, the fear, everything that I have never felt hit in the streets, from a young girl all the way to this point, I felt something different. And it was the fear of losing my own life and the fear of my children I have in their mother. And I changed, and I gave my life to the Lord.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing in regards. What does giving your life to the Lord look like in your lifestyle at that time?
It was surrendering everything. It was walking away from the game. It was walking away, never looking back, not looking for a quick fix or something that I could do that would cause me to be able to get quick money. It was not dating the wrong guy. It was moving away from the streets, getting out of those environments, getting away from even people that I love that was friends. I got away from everyone.
Man, you had mentioned when this first started that you had got into the ministries yourself. Can you speak on that as far as, you know?
This going to go into Bishop a little bit.
All right. Hey, no, shout out Bishop Eli. Nah, but let's do it. Let's do it.
It's hard for me to get to this point because now this is my ex-husband. So during this time when I get in church, we have a guest evangelist that's there that has done 15 years flat, and it's Bishop Eli. Yes. And so
for those that don't know, Bishop Eli has been on the platform. He himself has his own testimony as far as his trials and tribulations and coming to the other side.
And so I'm there trying to adjust to this newness in God, but I'm still kind of at this point being pulled in the streets. And so he comes in, and he's pretty much the one that's telling me, hey, you know, like, this ain't right, what you doing? And, you know, and he started pulling on me, hey, why don't you come go to church with me more? I would go to church on Sundays, maybe weekdays, but he was like, hey, come visit this church with me. And so from that point, I think I kind of pulled him back a little bit, because I was still hustling, doing different things, messing with, you know, can I go this deep, Bishop? Is that okay?
Yeah. We're not live.
Okay. All right. So you gonna cut that part out? I just don't know what. Okay. You're not here. All right. So, from that point, I kind of pulled him into it. And once he got into it, he backslid, and we was in the streets again. But it was for a short period of time. I would say that. So one day he told me, he said, this is it. We're getting back in church. Like, I can't live like this. And I'll never forget this. He said, the devil don't only try to steal your soul, he tried to steal your clothes, because we didn't have nothing to wear to church. Come on. And he was like, we got to go shopping all over again. So we went, and we got back in church. I started preaching my first sermon. He was preaching. We went from there to pastoring, opened up his first church. And from that, God just took me into evangelism. I started preaching with prophetess Juanita Bynum, who became my spiritual mother. Different people that was on mega levels, and God just took our church and increased it. We was recruiting people that was coming out the streets, drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes. We was the church. Everybody that was hardcore criminals came, got filled with the Holy Spirit, was baptized, changed their lives, and didn't go back.
Come on. It's very important because, you know, I always look at church as far as those who you're trying to save is probably, you know, you're looking at yourself and who you're trying to save. Yes. And you're working through the Lord to do it. So, you know, it always hits a little harder when, you know, someone could actually understand what that person is battling at that moment for whatever, you know, that sermon is or whatever that, you know, that tutelage needs to be. To me, those are the hardest hit ones. Yeah. With that being said, you know, to when you look at your past and you look at where you're trying to go, and we're going to speak on as far as what's about to happen next. Yeah. But when you look at your past, I would say, what lessons would you say you learned if you were on the outside looking in? I know you mentioned a little earlier as far as, you know, with drug dealers now, you recruiting little kids, but for your life, for everything that you've done up until the point of, you know, being saved, what lessons would you say that you learned about your own life when you look back at that?
I learned the need for us to have voices. I learned the need for us to have peers to look up to. I learned the need for us to be educated in those environments, to understand that there are so many doors, so many different opportunities and choices that you could take. Understanding what education is really for, where it'll take you to. Understanding what making the right choice, where that would take you to. Because being an African-American woman or being labeled as an African-American woman or an African-American man, we are already a statistic coming up from those environments. Understanding that when I was living in the projects, a project was an apartment complex. It was actually a project, meaning it was created by the government to see who would be able to make it out. So they put people in these particular areas to see how they'll survive on welfare, how they'll survive in these systems. Understanding if I remove the black man, if I take the male out and put him into a system, incarceration, drug dealing, put drugs in his hands, you create an environment of women that's going to be motivated and strength that's going to cause them to feel as if they were capable of doing it on their own. So it starts this whole process that that'll take us through kind of killing ourselves and killing our sons and our husbands coming through that. So there's so many different things that I learned coming into this. It was the importance of continuing to be on the path that I'm on right now, to make a difference, to not be a statistic of something that they can come and say that this is a horrible person, but this person that have experienced all of these different troubles and chaoses in life can come back and make a difference for somebody else. I hope that answered the question.
No, that answered it perfectly in regards. So with that being said, as far as looking at, you know, the government as starting projects as a project, you yourself are now trying to step into the role of politics. Yes. You're trying to, of course, run for office. If you don't mind, please speak on the role that you are looking into, you know, taking a head on. And we're going to go a little further into that, but speak on what you're running for as of now.
I am running for Dallas County Commissioner in District 4.
District 4, and that's Dallas County.
That's Dallas County.
The person who is Dallas County Commissioner now, who is the person there now?
Dr. Elba Garcia. She's a Latino.
And how long has she been doing District 4? She's
won maybe 6 different cycles of being county commissioner, maybe 20 plus years.
Oh, wow. Wow, yeah, this might be time for change on that one. It is time for change on that one. With that being said, what for you as running for commissioner, what would you like to see happen, not only for your district in District 4, but Dallas County in general? What are some things that you would like to be a part of, enact change to? What is your mission statement in regards?
Well, my mission statement is I've been where you've been and I want what you want. Because I feel like this, being a product from Dallas County makes a difference. I understand. As a county commissioner, you're over whatever is county. So that's Parkland Hospital. They don't get funded unless the commissioner sign off on it. That's the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, who's, by the way, suing Dallas County right now because of some of the payroll situations and some of the extra bonuses and things like that they wasn't receiving from our county's budgets. It is releasing money for infrastructure, releasing money for homelessness, and releasing money for those that may be mentally ill. All of these different situations that we have. Lou Sterrick Justice Center, by the way, which is almost filled 100% to capacity, not of criminals, but filled with 60% capacity of people that are homeless that don't have anywhere to go. So why are we incarcerating people and filling up our jails full of people that don't have a home? It don't make sense. When we're spending $20 million on an infrastructure or $20 million on a building to renovate a building or $30 million on a veteran hospital for animals and doing all of these different things, not the veterans hospital, but for animals.
Actually,
okay.
yes.
So when we're putting money into all of these different areas and components, which is what my opponent is doing, not even in for everything is Latino, but it's not for the Latinos that are struggling. It's for the Latinos that are wealthy. So when you look around in Dallas County, what used to be what we call the bottom, used to be a black area. Now what you see is Hispanics that have taken over those particular areas. But the way that they've done it is they have brung into these old areas the new housing and brung up property taxes, which is pushing out those that are senior citizens and pushing out those that have set incomes. So when we begin to see this type of stuff, you got to ask yourself, what happened to the little old lady whose husband died and she was living in their house that they ended up rebuilding, restructuring? You don't see her. What happened to the children that she was raising? They went into CPS. She's probably somewhere on the streets. How many times have you driven down any road in Dallas and looked over and saw an old lady with bags, nowhere to go, homeless? Yes. Well, there's a reason for that, because we have enough money in Dallas County. Our budget, I believe, this year for 2025, I believe that they released close to $27 million. $27 billion that was released for Dallas County. Oh. Okay. So within that funding, $2 million was released for homelessness. $2 million. You know what $2 million is going to do for a homeless situation when you're looking around at the Dallas Bridge and all of these other places that they find relationships with, and they fund those places, but they don't fund those that are really struggling out of their pockets to open up doors for the homeless, like the churches and small and nonprofit agencies and people that are really from the hood that want to open it up. And it's not just Black hood. We're talking about Latino hood, West Dallas, Oak Cliff, Dallas. It don't matter where it is. If it's in Grand Prairie, Arlington, all of those different areas, anything that is a part of Dallas County, if it has Dallas County on it, my particular district is Irving, Grand Prairie, Dallas, West Dallas, a little part of South Dallas, Oak Cliff. Those particular areas that should have funding in it. So when you see them pushing that money and you go and you look at the bridge, we understand that when you're giving money, you got operational expenses, and then you also have your administrative expenses. Just to operate a facility like that, annually, it's going to be over $2 million. So who are you paying? You're paying the people that own it, and you're paying the people that's running it. So what's happening for the people that's on the streets? And so with me coming into this, it's because I come from that struggle. When you've come out the projects, when you've been on a set income, when you know what it feels like to only live by food stamps and TANF help that's getting cut out now, when you understand that all of your medical insurance is coming from Medicaid and you're going into Parkland Hospital being mistreated because you don't have the funds, and now you got to find another way to fill your prescriptions, it makes you have a concern with the budget and your county budget as to where that money is going. And the problem is with this, especially Dallas and our people, we don't get out and vote because we don't understand where the problem is coming from. People are study looking up at Trump and saying, oh, well, Trump is the problem. He's the overhead. But when you get into your county or your city, you need to be looking at your city councilors. You need to be looking at your county commissioners. These are the people that make it happen on the streets.
Yeah. Is there enough transparency right now going on with our councilmen, our commissioners and things of that nature as far as when you speak on the budgets and where it's going? Is there enough transparency for the average person to see? Is there enough transparency for you to see where it's going?
Yes, absolutely. There is enough transparency. As a matter of fact, if you go to Dallas County website, you could track it and you can see what's going on with your county and your county budget, how much is going into infrastructure, how much is going into the jail systems. Just right, I believe that right now there was a certain budget. I want to say there was also $2 million that's for Lusterit because there's parts of Lusterit that needs to be rebuilt or built out. So instead of them putting money into programs where people can be rehabilitated, they're putting it into the building so that they can house more inmates. But they've taken the funding away from those that really may need a course or class to understand what's happening in their environments. Because you have a lot of people, we don't realize it, but being a mental health professional, we was raised and people would say, oh, you bad, you just acting out. But you have a lot of people that are mentally ill, ADHD, that cannot focus, people that have different type of psychological disorders that really need help. But instead of them getting them help, they put them in prison. So do we imprison mental illness or do we get them help? Without a budget, you're not going to get help. You're going to go behind bars.
Without question, I have to get your take, as this is just a hot take right now of flavor of the month, but it's a very important issue when it comes to the SNAP benefits ending, or at least, Trump administration wanting to end the SNAP benefits. If you don't mind, give me your take on, what that looks like for a city like Dallas where food stamp benefits will end for those of that marginalized community.
It's going to be a tragedy because for some reason they think that everyone that's getting food stamps is playing some kind of Queen of the South game. And that's not what they're doing. You have people that depend on this to survive. You have the elderly, you have the mentally ill, and then you have the low income families. They have children that's dependent on that. Now we have different types of places where they could go and they could go and get groceries or something like that. Different organizations that's giving food out, but we don't have enough. So what that's going to end up doing is going to end up causing a lot of criminal activity. And Dallas don't want that because we already have an intensive amount of criminal activities within our youth alone. When you start looking at a YN generation, they're not going to understand you saying, well, there's no food in my house. They're not going to look at their families and say, well, there's no food in the house, and they don't go get it. They're going to find a way to go get it. And that's going to cause another problem.
There you go. Also, I want to get your take on, you coming from East Dallas, being around South Dallas, seeing the areas in, Dallas kind of go through their, projects or whatever they want to call it. When you look at gentrification of some of these neighborhoods, if you don't mind, give me your take on it. Does it help? What should be the speed in which gentrification happens, if it even needs to happen? Because sometimes we are losing our historical landmarks in order to put a target here or there.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at, and I'm glad that you said that. When you look at Joppa is a historical Black area. That's where our slaves came and they purchased homes there first and they settled there. When you look at that now and you go down into Joppa, you see that gentrification has taken place. There is no way that anyone that will come up within the next generations to come will ever know the history of that place. So gentrification is a way of deleting our history. And then we have to understand this, that you even have now, schools are not teaching Black history. You have President Trump that's removing African-American slave statues out of parks. So gentrification is a way not just to remove history, but it's also a way to take over certain areas. Most of the time, when we see gentrification, I know when I was seeing it before I understood what it was, I was saying, oh, look, they building the hood up. That's good. Those houses are nice. But when you turn around, who's moving in these homes? When you put a home that's $3,500 in the midst of a neighborhood that the neighbors are paying $800 in their homes with an AC unit in the window, what's going to end up happening is that they're going to raise the property tax for that home. That person owned a home. They worked all their life for that home. Somebody died. Maybe they paid it off. However, whatever way they got it, they got it. But once gentrification happens and the property taxes go up, these people lose their homes. The banks come, they purchase those properties. Then they come and they renovate those properties. And then they put an unaffordable rate on that particular house. People are dying for listen, inaffordability happened even with the fair, Texas Fair. So many families wasn't even able to go. Why? Because the prices were too high. It used to be a time when we could enjoy that. When those that was raised there, those that worked hard on those streets to make sure that those particular environments was home felt environments, grandmothers, grandfathers, auntie, uncles. Now they can't even afford to go and enjoy these particular places. Why? Because we have gentrification that's happening all around the Fairport area.
Exactly.
Let me also say this. Please. The new pathways is also another gentrification. People need to watch this because just as my opponent, Elba Garcia, whether I win or lose, eyes need to be opened. These pathways that are being built in Oak Cliff areas for people to have a way to walk and lose weight behind homes that are getting ready to be tore down for gentrification purposes, people need to watch that. Why would we put a $20 million trail in the hood when the hood needs help? You're going to walk through a trailway on the back way, put all these little nice bushes. When we come around the other side, we got to step over John that's laying in plastic bags. We got to watch Susie with a tent that has her daughter bike parked in front of the tent because they cannot live like other people. You have people that are working. We're not just talking about folks that ain't working. You have a working class that's living homeless. They're living in their cars. They're needing food stamp assistance, but they get up and they go to work every day. I know a family right now. I know a lady who has 4 children who's been living homeless in her vehicle for 2 years. Wow. 2 years with her children going to school and everything.
Wow. Now that says a lot. So with that being said, I want to lead them in the right direction. For those that don't normally get out and vote, how important is it to not only vote just in general, but of course, when you're running to come out to the polls for you yourself? When is the voting happening? It
starts in February and March. Is voting March. 2026 for me.
Okay. How important is it as far as just a call to action I want you to be able to do for our, the youth out there or whoever's watching this, and they're, of course, what you're saying, they could go outside, drive anywhere through Dallas County and see these problems existing. Mm-hmm. And the way to do it, like you said, is go to the polls and Absolutely. Make sure that change does occur. If you don't like the way it's been for the past 20 years, mm-hmm. then you got to go to the polls and, switch it up. So mm-hmm. If you don't mind, let them know as far as the importance of their vote and also, what you plan on doing if and once elected.
Absolutely. Well, I want you guys to understand that voting is very important. It's whether it's on the county level, city level, or even when we're voting for our president within the United States. And this is one of the problems that we face because I believe that even now when you go on Dallas County website, you can see that there's a small number of people, I want to say like maybe 30% of Dallas County that's voting right now. And when you don't vote, this is when you begin to see problems because most of the people that are in office, you don't even know. You don't know their names. You don't know what they stand for. And you don't know what they are capable of doing. You have to go and research the office. Research the powers that they have. Research the funding that should be released. And then look and see where it's going. Is it going to benefit you? Because what's getting ready to happen is if you don't vote, you're going to set your family back, generations back, 20 years, 10 years, because it will not get fixed until somebody stand up, and we have to be the solution. So it's very important to get out there, because right now you have school lunches that's being taken away. Children used to survive on school lunches because a lot of people, when they are not able to work or whatever, their children will go to school and eat. But now you got school lunches that's being taken away. You got food stamps that's being taken away. When you don't have people that care enough to put into humanity. This is not about, somebody said, well, you're an evangelist, and you're going to be more pro-church. No, this is about humanity, because what's happening is happening to every one of you, whether you Black, white, Latino, it does not matter. If you came into the region and you are African, if you came into the region, you're Indian, this is affecting you. Don't think that, hey, we got our environment and we just living in our own little social systems. No, you're not. You're going to feel the impact of those that you don't vote for if you don't get out and vote.
Man, that's real. For you, your campaign, for those who want to follow your story, follow your journey, how are you going to be campaigning? Where can they?
I am. I'm campaigning.
On social media?
Yes. So on my social media, it's just Pedra Jeter, Pedrageter. And then also I'm Googleable. You can Google me. Pedra for Dallas County .org website. You can go there. You can also help into the campaign. Just because I'm not in your district don't mean you can't be a voice. Put my name out there. Hey, this is what we need in Commissioner's Court. And whether I win or lose within this particular season, you're going to continue to see me come, because I'm not going to stop coming. I want to be a part of the change. I want to be a voice for those of you that do not have a voice. I already know they're going to pull up my criminal record, but you need to understand this. Most of the people that you have in office, including our very own president, has 34 felony convictions. What they do is they go and they get it covered up. They may go and get it expunged, or they may receive a pardon. Either way it go, you got commissioners and people that's in place right now that just caught federal cases a couple years ago. Do your research and understand. Because when they start saying, oh, you got somebody that's coming and they're running and this is their background, understand this. I've been where you've been and I want where you won't. So to have me as county commissioner, Dallas County Commissioner, District 4, puts me in the court. It puts a real live person that you can access and say, hey, this is what just happened over in our neighborhood. It's going to get to me. And when it gets to me, I can be a voice in many different arenas and it can help you out. So you can go and find me on the web. Just Google, put my name in, Pedrageter, and you're going to find me. As a matter of fact, can I release a phone number?
Please.
Yeah, I'm transparent. 903-944-4541. There
you go. With that being said, man, it's an honor to go through not only your life journey with you, but also to be a part of what's about to happen next. I'm happy to be able to sit down with you, and hopefully that some of our viewers at home are watching this, whether they're in Dallas County or not. They may know someone in Dallas County. Call them. Tell them, hey, pull up to the polls. That's going to be the campaign all 2025 and 2026. With that being said, it's been an honor, man. Pedra, I have to say it. You are on the blue couch. That means you are a real life street star. Lego.
All right.
Shout out Reallyfe street stars, nigga. Mule. Hey.